All right, let's try this again. Okay, we got Project BPU back in the shop. Anybody that's been following me on Facebook probably knows I just got done replacing the transmission. That's not why it's in the shop. I know, shocker. So far, all that seems to be working fine. This morning when I went outside, I noticed a puddle under the car, and like everybody else that's ever worked on their car, thought for sure, well, the transmission's leaking. Rolled the car backwards and discovered that it was in fact antifreeze. Cannot, as of yet, determine the source, so I'm going through and troubleshooting. One of the other things I noticed at the same time was that the cooling system still had a considerable amount of pressure in it, even after being parked for 15 or 16 hours. And I found that a little odd, so I'm looking into a couple things. It could just be as simple as the radiator cap has bailed out on me. But got the plugs out. You can gonna get in there a little bit. Look pretty good, fairly even. Having a hard time here. I don't know. All of a sudden, I can't talk. We'll run a compression test. We'll put it up in the air. I'm gonna look for anything obvious, hoses, things like that might be leaking. It was kind of down back in there. Not that you can see squat, but we're gonna do a compression test here. So I threaded my lovely Harbor Freight tester into the number one plug. The motor is more or less cold. I mean, I drove it in the shop. That's about it. So I don't know, 100 degrees or whatever. I don't think this counts as a hot compression test, but it's certainly not a freezing compression test. Let me note that I've got a screwdriver here stuck in the throttle linkage. That's just to ensure consistency across all four cylinders. So we're going to try and get about a 5 count. That's what I usually look for, 5 or 6. It probably doesn't matter as long as you're even. Don't give one 3 and the other 10. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, let's see what we got. Doop, 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 doop. My tripod has run off. Otherwise, I'd hang this up under the hood here and run through this a little bit quicker. 135 ish. There's not a specific absolute number that I'm looking for. I mean, this is kind of an old, wore out B230. And pretty much anything above 120. I mean, ideally, I'd like it around 150, but again, it's a Harbor Freight gauge. I mean, there's no telling. Maybe if I did 6 hits instead of 5, it would have bumped it up a little bit more. Who knows? What we're looking for is consistency more than anything else. Maybe somebody that can thread it in without being a dip. I've got all the plugs out. It helps it turn over a little bit more smooth. And I'll set the phone down here. I've noticed in the past, if you blow it between cylinders and you put the spark plug back in, you may not notice the first time you run through it what you got going on. Of course, I would expect the spark plugs to look a little bit different if were that the case. All right. Let rinse repeat for number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And we'll do that for 3 and 4 here. And come back in a minute. Or, well, y'all won't know. I'll just stitch the 2 videos together and it'll just suddenly snap in from a different perspective. And see what we got. Run it up in the air real quick. Look underneath and see what we can learn. All right, here we are up under the car. The results of the compression test were I had to retest number 1 after the little video clip because I had tested it before the video and it was 150, and then in the video it was 135, which I thought was strange. And I don't know if I didn't get the thing seated in there or what, but 2 was 150, 3 was 140, and 4 was 150. So not great on number 3. Probably not all that uncommon at this vehicle's age. I think it's a little over 200,000 miles. I'm not sure. It sounds like it's got about 500,000 on it when you crank it up. You can see some of the residual water or coolant there and there. So it's coming from the engine side. A lot of that oil that you're seeing right there on the fuel feed line and all that is left over from spillage yesterday when we were filling the transmission, or Monday night when I was filling the transmission up. Transmission, by and large, I should have hosed it off before I put it in, but I've got no new drips and nothing on the ground where I've parked it. Certainly nothing bright red. I do have what looks like a little bit of an exhaust leak on my turbo, on my center cartridge there. I'm guessing somehow or another one of those nuts came off. Great. That'll be fun. I'll probably throw a washer and another M8 on there. I'm not seeing anything down here other than other problems that I need to address at some point. Up there, I don't know if you can see it in the video. I don't see anything on the heater hose that would have done it. I don't see, I mean, this is obviously not to say that it didn't. I'm not seeing it. I can't really see the underside of the intake manifold. Can't really see that from above either. Nothing really jumping out, so I'm not real sure what that was. Obviously something is leaking. Otherwise I wouldn't have had a puddle, but I don't know exactly what yet. It could be a worn out head gasket. Other people have had that problem before. I can't say that I have. I've had freeze plugs rot and start leaking before. That's always fun, but I haven't had a head gasket literally rot out. But on a higher mileage car, it can happen, especially if you're leaning on it the way I've been leaning on this thing. Wouldn't be the end of the world. With the oil feed line set up and return line set up that I've got, it's pretty trivial to get the cylinder head off. I was really kind of hoping to avoid that, if I'm honest, because given the loud nature of the engine, I was planning on replacing it. But, you know, a head gasket set's not terribly expensive. Let's see if we can get a flashlight here and look down the front of the block real quick. See if there's anything obvious. All right. Oop, the light. A little light vector in there. Maybe the camera can catch something. I don't know. Looks wet back there. Right underneath. Right underneath. Well, there's nothing there, really. Let's see. Nothing pooling on the freeze plug in front of the breather. I don't know if you can see, probably not. See the block back there, there's nothing really pooling there, but then you get down here and it's really, well, I mean, it's greasy too. That also doesn't help matters. But I don't know. The mystery continues.